Hello everybody, welcome to another reading. Today we're going to take a look at the Long Island serial killer, a killer who has apparently been active since the mid-90s up to about 2010, from what I've heard. He's had many victims since then. They're not quite sure if it's the same person, but in any case they haven't been caught yet because nobody's actually been convicted of any of the crimes that have occurred between those two times. So today we wanted to try and figure out if we could see if we can get anything from the tarot on this particular case, since it is still ongoing. It's an active investigation, and we're going to start with the Deviant Moon tarot deck, which is something that looks like this. A lot of people find this a very creepy deck. I tend to think it's a very good deck for uncovering things that don't want to be uncovered, tearing off bandages from the wound, that type of thing. It's very straightforward. At least I always find it to be very straightforward in a way that you wouldn't be expecting. And if you have any further questions, which we always do, I'm moving on to the Santa Muerte deck, which is this one. Very nice. And I usually grab that when I want to get some information from those who have passed on. And since he does have quite a few people on his track record, then we might be able to get some connection with that as well. So they may be able to get some info out there as well, chime in on the case. As per usual, I am an intuitive reader. I say this every time. I'm pretty sure it annoys people who regularly view the videos, but there's always going to be one person who says that's not what that card means. But like I usually say, reading intuitively is I take a look at the card. Whatever comes up with me is what the card means to me in that moment. And if you see something else, if you have a different interpretation of the cards, make sure to leave that in the comment section below, so you can have a little discussion about that, or at least get all the info out there that we can. So yes, let's just get started. I'm just going to start shuffling this deck, and I'll be back as soon as I have a nice spread for you to take a look at. Let's go. Okay, we've got quite a few interesting cards here. It started off with the Two of Swords in reverse, and these two are struggling, and it almost strikes me as having this is a person who has almost two sides to their personality that are currently in combat, although it's reversed, and usually reversed Two of Swords I read as being of a single mind, having made a decision a long time ago, perhaps even to unify these two into one. So maybe at one point they were struggling with some type of mental affliction or something that they were trying to fight this urge to go after people, and since then they've kind of given that up, I think. We do here have a King of Wands, which is a very actionable person, somebody who tends to also draw people towards him. As you can see, he has quite a collection of smaller people around him. He's a bit of a radiant type of person. I'm pretty sure he has lots of friends. He tends to be very actionable, very out there. I'm getting the impression that he might even have a boat that he likes to take people out on, or something along those lines. Somebody who's kind of in the middle of the community. We also see here the King of Pentacles way on the end, but we'll get to him in a bit. It's kind of connected because it does seem like he is a very resourceful type of person, so they are definitely somebody of note. At least within their little circle of influence, they have a lot to say. We have here the Seven of Wands, which is kind of a jealousy card. So I think he might either be jealous of other people, or he's kind of like certain people wish that they could be him. Obviously they don't know about his past, but more like he has this is the type of person that seems to have everything in order, all their ducks in a row, that type of thing, and people are looking at him going, wow, I wish I had that guy's life. I wish I had his family, his income, his car, whatever it is that he has that they find problematic. Now here we, at least problematic, something that they want that makes it problematic, I guess, to know this person. Here we have the Three of Swords, and there's like the shadow in the background, and I found this kind of interesting. The pose that she strikes here is kind of like she's shielding herself, as you can see. And there's definitely the shadow side there in the background. When I saw this card fall out, I thought, okay, so he's definitely married, and there's things in his life that his wife does not know, and that's the shadow in the background. He might be a violent husband as well. If you look at this, like, she's also crying. So there's the people in the background that are also being stabbed in the back, and she, who is actually able to see him because she's got the light in her eyes, might also find that behind closed doors he's not the great loving husband that people may think him to be, or at least that they know that there is an other side. But I don't think that they know of the other people that he may have been hanging out with, because as most serial killers tend to do, they have a certain type that they go for, and I believe that the Long Island serial killer has a thing for going after escorts and stuff like that, which is also a fairly common serial killer trait. Don't know if the wife is aware of his escort habits. She may have a clue though, because the shadow is quite close, and maybe she has like an inkling that he might occasionally hang out with these women, but I don't think she expects that he does anything more than just call them for their services. Next we have here the Eight of Wands in reverse. Eight of Wands is usually like a very actionable card. Most decks will have a whole bunch of wands flying through the sky with little young sprouts on it, and this one is in reverse. And you can also see that he is almost like a Grim Reaper, cutting people down in their prime almost, because they do have little sprouts up there. And even though it's more of a normally a reaping what you sow type of card, and also just striking your iron when it's hot type of thing, I think this is more of a biding time, but also perhaps going after the young ones in particular, because I think they have a certain thing for that. Like, they really like to be the Grim Reaper to determine when it's somebody else's time. That's what's coming through right now. So this is somebody who definitely takes some type of pleasure in this. And although nothing's happened since 2010, at least they haven't found anybody since 2010 as far as I'm aware, I think he still thinks about it a lot, and that card over there I think is telling us that it's not quite over yet, or maybe he's found some way to now tame this for the time being, so he doesn't have to do this all the time. Maybe he just thinks about what he used to do back in the day. We do have some cards that kind of point towards that as well. Anyway, here we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is normally like a growing things, planting seeds type of stuff. And to me, this reads as he's got certain plans that he's put into action, and he's starting to see the results of that, or at least he's fondly nurturing certain paths that he's currently walking. I think he's kind of trying to just move on without getting caught. Even though I see here, I was saying earlier that he was probably thinking about the stuff that he used to do. I see here the Six of Cups, which is more of a remembering the past type of thing. But it's reversed, so I read this as like keeping the past to himself, but he's definitely still thinking about it, so because the puppet show is still playing in their mind, and it might not be the puppet show that most people would like to see, except for him. Then we have the Four of Cups upright. So Four of Cups is like being offered all sorts of choices. There's a ship in the background that you could go with. You could go travel out into the world beyond, but this person looks rather bored with their choices. They're kind of spoiled for choice, because right next to that we have the Emperor. So I think, like I said earlier, this person is somebody that a lot of people look up to, and I think he also has some type of power in a way. Maybe he's a little bored in his life currently, because we also have here the Four of Wands reversed, so there's definitely some type of disharmony. I think there's this itch coming up, as far as I can tell. Yeah, he's definitely thinking about the past, because the Emperor over here is a little bit disharmonious, but we also have here the Seven of Cups, which is almost like trying to decide what to do next. Like this, it's wishful thinking, it's like a whole bunch of options that you can choose from, and I think this disharmony is making it so that his mind is turning back towards that little scenario back there. So he might be thinking, maybe I could get away with it because I am resourceful. Like, I think he's currently maybe planning something. Like this King of Pentacles over here is upright, so it's definitely somebody who has a lot of resources, but it doesn't have to mean money in particular. I do think that he has quite a bit of wealth, but I think also mentally quite resourceful. I'm pretty sure he's planning something, or he has become more careful. Maybe he's found a way to deal with the remains of his victims in a way that is not as easily detected as before. Kind of like that. Let's call the Santa Muerte deck in and see if we can find anything else? Is there anything else we need to know about this guy? Like, what's he up to now? First card we have is the Page of Swords in reverse. So the Page of Swords is somebody who's usually very adolescent, youthful energy types. Page of Swords is somebody who likes to charge into the wind on foot, no less. And that usually is like thoughts and words that come out quite hastily, and it's in reverse. So I think he's actually spending a bit more time being very careful with what he's saying. So maybe he's had a few slip-ups occasionally in his wording and his thoughts, perhaps, or some of the ideas that he's had that kind of came close to people maybe figuring out what had happened in the past. I think he may occasionally have said some things to certain people. We had the same thing with the Delphi murder case as well. That one is also occasionally slipping up, but that's a different case. Let's go back to this one. So I think he may occasionally have spoken out of turn, out of place, but he's trying to control that, and that's why the Page of Swords is reversed. Let's see what else we can get. What is he doing? Page of Pentacles, so we have a lot of page energy, so he's kind of turbulent right now. I think that's the impression I'm getting. He's not quite very stable. There's definitely, he's got, I think he's a little callous is the word I'm looking for. He's got all this page energy. So the Page of Pentacles is more somebody who tends to spend without thinking too much about it, and I do see that he has quite a lot of resources, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to break the bank, but I think he's got some spending habits or certain ways of spending his time as well that is quite wasteful. And because it's 2 pages in a row, like I said, he's in a bit of a turbulent place. I think he might be becoming a little unstable, more unstable than usual, because if you're murdering people, you're already quite unstable, I would think, but okay. And then we have the King of Swords. Okay, so more focus on the outward appearance, definitely talking a lot. Trying to, I don't know, maybe he's talking about the case as well. Maybe he's one of those people that is involved somehow or tries to stay involved, because something that happens with serial killers, in particular other types of criminals, is that they try to keep an eye on the investigation. So he might be somebody who's outspokenly trying to theorize on what's going on, so he can also keep tabs on what it is that other people know. That kind of also falls in line with the idea that certain people have that he might actually be somebody from law enforcement. So next one, the Tower. Okay, so following that up is the Tower. That to me suggests that at the very least he's going to end up in some type of trouble, and things are going to change for him. So with this lineup over here, I think the turbulence that I was mentioning earlier and the fact that he's kind of talking up a storm and perhaps getting a little too close to the fire might end up tripping him up somehow. It's also a very nice card. Look at this. The skull is breaking through the wall, and then you get all this weird Asher-like scene. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck, but okay, that's just an aside. Anyway, so I think he is ensnaring himself. Let's see what else we can get. Oh, 2, 3. I see one over here. The Sun, which says to me that we are actually going to see something about that. There's going to be a light shown in this case, and you can see them partying down here. So I think this might mean that eventually he is going to get caught. Whether it's going to be sooner or later, I don't know, but I got 3 or 4 cards here. Oh, a whole bunch. We got 4 cards here. The King of Wands is reversed, so he's going to do something stupid. That's basically what this comes down to. We had the King of Wands upright earlier, so he's somebody who's very actionable. Like I said, he tends to have all the good stuff, and he tends to take care of things. He likes to go out boating, stuff like that. Don't know that, of course, particularly, but just that's the impression I'm getting. Somebody who would have a boat and would be there every weekend or whenever he can, inviting friends, blah, blah, blah. And combined with these pages and the Tower, this reverse King of Wands to me says he's going to do something stupid, which is going to end up making him fall through it. Fall through, actually. This is the 7 of Cups again, so I think his incareful actions are going to be related to the fact that he is looking at that 7 of Cups energy again, like, hey, I've got so many choices, why don't I just try this out? Why don't I just do it like this or do it like that? I'm pretty sure I'll get away with it because I'm so smart and I'm so influential. Then we get the 5 of Swords, so there's going to be some conflict there. Like, these two are literally being caught. There are 5 people there that are like, oh, we got you. you're going to have to spend some time explaining exactly what it is that you're going to do, because they do look very surprised. So I think this is a tarot moment that we're looking at. Like, they're finally caught. There's two people here, and I think maybe he'll be caught with the person in the act as well. That's what that looks like. Followed up by another Six of Cups. And this is like walking into the past. We have a lot of double cards. As per usual, I tend to do that. I tend to have extra cards, the same types drawn continuously. Anyway, so I think this is a reference that he's going to be walking down memory lane, because they are quite literally walking around here with the cups in hand. I think he's going to be doing a lot of navel gazing. Perhaps this is referencing that he might have to do a lot of confessing or digging in his past to talk about what exactly happened. Let's see what else we can find real quick, because this is starting to look like a confession time, but is he going to see jail time? Nope. Four of Wands. Okay. So that's kind of disappointing. At least when I saw it, it was slightly disappointing, because after all this trouble here, it's almost like Four of Wands is saying, you know what, I'll figure it out. I'll find some way through it. Like I said, there's an Emperor card underneath here as well. He's quite influential, I believe. At least that's what the cards are saying to me right now. Like, okay, even though he might end up being caught in the act over here with the Five of Swords, it might not be the end of the road. I think he'll find a way to spin it so that it won't turn into him being investigated, is what I'm hearing. But let's go back to the other deck. That's just this one case. What about the future? Is he ever going to get caught? Let's take a look. Is he ever going to have to deal with the consequences? Oh, that's a lot. That can't all be for this reading. Yeah. His strength is waning, and I think this is also due to his age, because he has been active for, what is it now, 15 years or something at least? More, possibly? Yeah, 2010 to 1995-ish. So his strength is waning, and we have here, what's this? This looks like the Eight of Pentacles. So he's been working away on things. I think he's got to have this confrontation over here. He's gonna be able to get out of it reasonably scot-free, but then he's gonna notice that his strength is waning and that it's time to focus on I guess seeing his way into some type of retirement. He's definitely focusing on his resources, so I think he is gonna be a little too close for comfort. What about, oh, after that, this one came flying out. And the Ten of Cups is in reverse, so that's definitely like a disharmony. I don't know with who, but maybe they're divorced, because you do see like a family situation here. I think he's going to end up breaking up with whoever it is that he is with now. Two cards. This is the Nine of Cups in reverse, and we have here the Nine of Wands. Okay, two nines. So this is the nines tend to point towards what's happening to the individual, and as you can see, this is a card with the genie coming out of the bottle, but it's reversed. So I think he's going to be running out of options, and he's going to end up in a fairly tough situation personally. So I don't know. It could be, if you look at these bars in the background, that could be jail time after all. So maybe ultimately, even though he's trying very hard to fix himself up so he doesn't get caught, he might end up getting caught after all. Let's grab the other deck real quick to see if we can get like a confirmation of that. Is he going to be seeing some jail time? Oop. What do we have? We have here the Hanged Man in reverse. Okay. So normally the hangman is like a chilling type of thing, just taking some time off. It's funny that this hangman is actually upright because his only his skull is attached. Yes, so I think that he is going to spend some time doing some time. And it's not going to be a very restful time either. At least as far as confirmation of a question goes, this card definitely says to me like it might not be soon, but eventually we're going to see somebody get sent to jail, or at the very least face consequences. He might not even make it to jail, if you know what I mean. Like maybe he'll be taken out some other way before he even gets there. I'm going to draw one more card just to see if there's anything to wrap it up with. And then I think we're going to call it a day. Ooh, relax, I said one. Okay, that's fine. 2 cards will work. Alright, so what is it that I wanted to throw at us real quick? We have here the 8 of Cups reversed, so that's a no longer walking away. So that kind of is a good pairing up with the Hangman right here. Because 8 of Cups is normally like looking at your options and going, nah, forget about this, I'm going to go do something else. But with this guy and this one in reverse, it seems like there's no more time to walk away. Those options are long gone. And then we have final card, the Queen of Wands. So this is somebody who really knows what they want. I think this might be the person who got away. Like after all of this, at the end of this, I think we might actually see somebody making it out of it somehow, or at least people celebrating the fact that he's now no longer going to be on the streets being dangerous. This might be somebody who he has been terrorizing this entire time. Could be the missus, who has not had the best time being married to this person, finally being free, and perhaps also maybe certain things will fall into place for them as well. Because if you are like a relative, or this is your husband, or this is your father or something, and they've been doing terrible things, you might not know exactly what's happening, but I'm pretty sure there's this underlying tension that doesn't make any sense at the very least. And even though it's going to be a very tough time to finally realize that this person has been murdering people, I think just the fact that things will fall into place will make so much more sense. And she really does look like she's ready to just take on the world on her own terms. That's what I'm seeing right here. So that is what I'm seeing for the Long Island serial killer. A lot of cards here, a lot of information. Hope you found it interesting. Make sure to leave a comment about that in the comment section below, or leave a like. That also really helps the channel. And if you have anything you'd like me to do a reading on, make sure to leave that in the comment section below as well. Either way, thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.